Morning.
Morning.
Okay, so this is supposed to be a meditation.
Does that mean we can't talk?
It means you shouldn't write or take notes or anything. And if you could put everything else away. Has anyone meditated? Does anyone here meditate? No. Once in a while. Great. That's amazing. I highly recommend it. The benefits of meditation are innumerable and tremendous. It's an old, ancient tradition of Yiddishkeit that has been lost, but it is not a modern secular thing. It is a very, very, very deeply Jewish thing that has just been lost over the years. It's making its way back. But I highly recommend exploring meditation. We're going to try and do a meditation that is focused on what I was talking about yesterday, not the big fight last night. What I was talking about, although I still feel like I need to defend myself.
Wait, was that a fight?
I'm a believer in Talmud Torah. Okay, anyway, sidebar. Okay, focus. So what I spoke about yesterday morning, the part where I think people actually liked what I was saying, and having attachments, having connections and relationships, and we're going to try and do a little bit of a meditation to access. Very often when people talk about these topics, they talk about them from the trauma perspective, from the way in which we were undernourished in relationships that we had, or that things were lacking for us, the ways that we felt hurt or pain. But I think it's equally, if not even more important, to highlight, to find and highlight and amplify the positive relationships that we have had. Because with all the pain that any of us have been through, and each person has their own story, and wherever each of us had difficult or challenging relationships, we've also all had at least moments, and probably more than moments, even relationships, but at least moments in which we felt a deep sense of connection to someone. And we felt a sense of belonging, we felt a sense of being nourished, we felt a sense of being loved, we felt. We felt seen, we felt cherished and valued. And it's very, very powerful to identify those relationships and try to amplify them in our system as much as possible. Because very often the negative relationships we've had take up so much space in our system, and we don't really pay attention to where we did have positive, nurturing relationships. If we still have time, and depending on how this goes, we might then be able to pivot from the relationships that are kind of like this, with people we've had relationships with, and use that as a way of accessing a deeper and meaningful relationship with Hashem himself. So we'll see where the journey takes us this morning. Okay? Cool. So meditation is not some heebie-jeebie crazy weird thing. You have to sit on the floor on a mat and go like this and cross your legs. I meditate. I've never done this. Right? It's not real. I don't know why that became the thing. Meditation, really at its most basic level, I always start by just noticing my breath. And the moment that you pay attention to your breath, most of the time, not always, but most of the time, you will automatically find that you will begin to slow your breath down and calm your breath. So even just right now, even with your eyes still open, if you just notice your breath, notice it without judgment. One of the most important things in meditation is it's not judging or evaluating, it's just observing. It's just curiosity. Neutral awareness is the name of the game. So just noticing your breath. Am I breathing in through my nose and out through my nose? Am I breathing in through my mouth, out through my mouth? Am I breathing in through my nose and out through my mouth? In through my mouth, out through my mouth? What am I doing? Just noticing it. Just becoming aware. Am I breathing slow and heavy? Am I breathing fast? Am I breathing in a way that's stressful, in a way that's relaxed? Not better or worse, just noticing it. So take a moment and just notice that. And just be curious to see what happens as you place your mind's eye on your breath. See if it changes at all. If you can, and you're willing, see if you can now place your feet on the floor And see if you can make sure nothing else is in your hands, and just let your hands rest on your lap comfortably in whatever position you want. All of these things are invitations. I'm not giving anyone any instructions. I'm not telling you anything you need to do or should do. I'm just offering you invitations of things that you might want to try. So if at any point you want to do anything different, or you want to space out or stop listening to me, that's also perfectly okay. So just notice your feet on the ground and your hands on your lap. And again, with just neutral, observational awareness, without judgment, just scan your body, noticing any physical sensations that are there. It's not good or bad, but just notice what's there. There might be pleasant sensations, there might be unpleasant sensations, there might be neutral sensations. It's not good or bad, it's just pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. And if you can allow your eyes to close. And as you notice your body, see if you can now go back to your breath. And now, again, invitation only, but see what it might be like to breathe in through your nose slowly and out through your mouth also slowly. And follow the rhythm of your breath as the air comes in through your nostrils and your body expands and rises as you inhale and you fill your body with air. Bless you. And then as you allow your body to sink back down, letting the air out through your lips, trying to push the air out slowly, not doing that, but rather it's and trying to make your breath as long and deep as possible, allowing, especially on the exhale, focusing in on the exhale, allowing your body to sink completely as you push all the air out before you enter into the next breath. The mind is an amazing thing, and we have so little control over it. So if at any point you become distracted by something or some thought pops in your mind, instead of getting frustrated, just notice it. Notice that it's there, and then go back to your breath. And you can repeat that as many times as you need. Notice if some tiredness sets in, that's very normal, because when we actually let our bodies relax, we notice how tired we actually are. Notice if any stress comes in, and just notice that too. It's not bad, it just is. I'm just going to intuitively skip what I had actually planned for this morning and try something else, okay? So if you're still with me, I want you to imagine a light off in the distance, above you at an angle, and this light is a unique, special type of light. This light is filled with strength for whatever you might need strength for in your life. And this light is filled with love. This light loves you more than you could even imagine anyone loving you, even more than you can love yourself. This light contains an endless depth of acceptance. This light knows you and cares about you. It's nurturing, it's warm, it's supportive. And if you can, and you don't have to do this part again, all of this is invitations, you can allow this light to be a spiritual entity. It's almost, so to speak, a radiance of the one above. I'm just noticing this light, this endless light. It's the light of Hashem. If that word doesn't work for you, it's the light of God. If that word doesn't work for you, it's the light of spirituality. It's the light of the endless one. It's the light of the unknown. Or it's just light. It's all fine. And you might give this light a color. And I want you to imagine that the light is slowly beginning to shine outwards in your direction. It's beginning to emanate, and it's coming closer and closer and closer to you, and you start to feel its warmth. And the light makes its first contact with your body on your forehead. And it's almost like a massaging feeling, just so calming, so present, so quiet, so simple. And the light begins to shine from your forehead down to your eyes, allowing your eyes to just rest, and to your nose, and over to the right side of your face, to your cheek, to your right ear, to your right jawbone, the right side of your mouth. Nurturing, soothing, and then it continues over to the left side of your face, to your left ear, left cheek. And the light is now radiating on your face entirely, and it continues down your neck and over to your right shoulder, massaging, releasing any tension, any stress, any difficulty, supporting you, holding you. And it goes down your right arm, to your elbow, to your wrist, to your hand, to your fingers, and then over to the left shoulder, into your left arm, all the way down to the tips of your 5 fingers in your left hand. And then coming back to the center, the light continues down your torso, radiating and down your body, allowing you to continue breathing. And in your mind, I'm not going to continue guiding, but in your mind, see what it's like to take that light through all the different parts of your body. In the same way that I was just guiding, but doing it for yourself. As you continue to breathe. And any moment you get distracted, you just come back to the breath and re-enter again. Whenever you've allowed the light to go to wherever it needs to go, I want you to then notice the next breath you take, the next inhale, and you're bringing the light now inside of you. So the light surrounds you, and the light now enters in through your nose in the air that you take in as it fills your lungs and fills you up inside. And as you exhale, you can let go of any other light you might want to get rid of. You might want to let go of. And so each time you inhale, you're bringing more of this nurturing, loving light inside of you. And each time you exhale, you're letting go of anything that doesn't need to be there. And then just take a moment before we finish this just to sit with it. Just notice what it's like in your body right now. Notice your breathing. Again, just with curiosity, not good or bad. Notice if this feels peaceful and pleasant, nurturing. Notice if it doesn't feel that way at all, if it feels difficult or irritating. Just sit with it. can slowly, whenever you're ready, slowly open your eyes and look around. Okay. I'm just curious, anyone open to sharing if that was a complete flop or if it was really peaceful and helpful or anything in between? Curious, yeah.
Quickly from him because I never had it today, and I needed to
Did it help your headache?
It was amazing.
Did it help your headache?
Totally.
Yeah, amazing, cool.
It's not gone.
Right, but it
but
brought
I-
down. Yeah, totally.
I feel calm and
Amazing.
I came out of breath.
Great,
Thank you.
great, beautiful.
Very good.
Great. What do you say?
Made me hot. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like, come on.
So actually, when the body discharges stress, there are 7 signs of discharging stressful energy in the body. One of them is heat. So it could be, I can't say for
I
sure,
literally feel like
but it could be that
coming
your
out
body,
of
It's like blood flow.
yeah.
yeah, totally. That could be the release of stress. There's 7 typical signs. One of them is like that feeling of like heat, your body getting hot. Yeah.
So that's all very stressful.
Very stressful.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very normal.
I don't enjoy it.
Yes, yeah. That's
I
very,
tried,
very
I
normal.
was like, I'm gonna do
Yeah.
it, beat on the ground, because he's just inviting,
Yeah.
I'll do whatever.
Yeah.
And when we got to the light, I started to get like distracted.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
other stuff. And then I just like got stressed, like
Yeah.
very anxious.
I appreciate you saying that. It's very normal. So 2 thoughts, if that's okay. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So one is, it's entirely possible that meditation in general wouldn't do that to you, and it was just this form of meditation in terms of visualization, because visualizations are not the only form of meditation, and I just did a visualization with you, and visualizations are not for everybody. So it's entirely possible that it was just this. It also could be, and I'm just putting it out there, it could be that for a lot of people, that when they meditate, they get very stressed. It's because there's something in them that is actually very stressful that in the course of their regular life, they're able to be very, very distracted from. And the moment we slow down as much as we just did, then it starts to come up because now we're not as distracted and it's, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, but just those are 2 possible
Putting it out
things
there.
to be aware of as possible, you know? It could be that particular meditation is just not for you. It also could be something more broad in that way. Yeah?
I kept yawning even though I'm not tired.
Good. Yawning is one of the other 7 signs of stress release. Yes.
I mean, but
There are 7 typical signs. So yawning, burping, sweating, shaking, what else are they? One second. Heat, thank you. That's 5. What are the other 2?
I had a little chill. Like
Chills, yes, thank you.
shakes.
Yeah, that's 6. And what's the 7th? I'm blanking now. I'll look it up. I'll get it back to you guys later. Yeah. The 7th is the most I always forget it because it's the most classic one. It's just a deep breath. It's a deep involuntary breath. Like all of a sudden you notice yourself go like, not because you try to. We often do that as a way of trying to calm ourselves, but when it's a sign of stress release is when we didn't, it was an involuntary breath. When right, so any of those, right, so any of those things are all signs of the fact that the body just recalibrated into a more regulated place. It shifted out of the sympathetic nervous system charge of fight-flight and went into what's called the ventral vagal state, which is a regulation and more of a sense of calm. Yeah.
I actually felt completely detached from my body. Like when you said start like tapping your toes, I
Yeah.
couldn't.
Wow, that's awesome.
It was really hard.
Was that a pleasant feeling or not a pleasant? Yeah. That's awesome. So do you know that this is one of the reasons I say this is an ancient spiritual, Jewish technique is because this is maybe not that particular thing I just did with you, but that is what's called hispashtos hagashmios. When you see in Jewish sources or things, people, almost like just connecting to a spiritual reality, you just experienced that. It's not a crazy thing that's only meant for Kabbalists. You just experienced the feeling of connecting to a state of being where you are only connected to your neshama to the point where you forget that you have a body. That's amazing. That's awesome.
I feel like I was gonna go to sleep. That's
Yeah.
why I didn't want to tap my toes.
Right. So that's all. It's extraordinarily normal because we are living with so much activity and activation all the time and we don't even realize how overburdened our bodies are and our systems are. We don't even realize it because when we feel overburdened, we just go to the next thing, right? And when you do something like this, it's like, whoa, I didn't realize. Like, it's a deep tiredness. It's not even like,
hard to get into it. Like I had to
right.
force myself.
Yeah, makes sense. So all the things you guys are bringing up, these are all totally normal and good, and the different varieties of how people's systems experience the meditation. Yeah.
It was really scary for me, and I had to stop.
Yeah. Yes, totally normal, and I would relate that.
Like, what is going on?
I would relate that to a similar thing. What's your name again? Hana. I would relate that to a similar possibility. It could be that it's just the technique in the meditation, but it could also be that there's something for a lot of people. Meditation brings up fear because for a lot of people there's actually something deep inside that they have kept under a lot of different distraction and activity. And when you slow down this much, the system gets scared because it's going to actually see face to face whatever it is that we're usually able to just bury. I'm not making any assumptions or saying anything is true about anyone. I have no idea.
Meditation's
But
not, if meditation brings up like anxiety, fear, or stress, it's not a good thing to
well, so I would say what it is actually an opportunity for something potentially life-changing, because we might be living in one way.
to face the fear.
Yes, but that would be something that would then be done. If the meditation brought up fear and brought up anxiety and those kinds of things, then I would suggest that the meditation not just be like a self-help thing that you person does on their own, but that it actually is an indication that this might be an opportunity for something life-changing, because I could actually get to what's inside, but I might need more specific guidance on how to be able to do that. But it's to me, when someone experiences fear or stress or anxiety, if they try doing meditation, that's like gold. So I love that someone had a spiritual experience, and I love that some people felt relaxed. I actually get more excited, this is why I'm crazy, but I actually get more excited by those reactions, because that to me is like, this is an opportunity. There's something here, there's a potential for
You have
healing.
something to work on now, something to
There's the potential for healing. Yeah.
Wasn't just the color of the light that you see new? Like when I was expecting to be like a yellowish light, like the sun, but it was white, and then it turned almost like that color. And then when you said to internalize it, it went back to being white.
That's so interesting.
What do the colors mean?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know anything objective. What do you say?
Hypnobird is this exact method.
Yeah.
And it has the colors too, and they even ask you to choose colors and everything. And it's also something that we all use in life even after, like my husband does it. We all hypnobird.
We could explore, like for you, what do different colors mean. It could just be simple like visualization, different things go up. But it could be that these different colors mean things to you. We could explore that, But I don't know of anything like objective to it in the way that I was saying, like the 7 signs of like discharging. I don't have anything like that for this. Yeah, that could be interesting. I would personally love to hear so many comments. I just don't know what schedule I'm on. Do you need me to stop? Barry, Michelle, do I need to stop?
We have 5 minutes.
Okay, so more comments? Yeah.
So in this particular instance, where like maybe it does bring up certain things, whatever it is. So, like when would you suggest? Meaning, I guess, whatever the reaction would be for a person, whether it brings up fears or anxiety, whether it just relaxes them, whatever. Like, how would you recommend that people use this, on an ongoing basis or not an ongoing basis? Like, we've tried it now, maybe we've never done it before. So, what would be like the follow-up to this, or should we be working on this, or is there value in this long term? Like, what would be?
Yeah, I think that, what the studies all show is that people who engage in meditative practices live with so much more peace and fulfillment and ease because we are all getting like hits of activation all the time. And if we just go from one thing to the next, that's why we were talking last night about anger with our kids, right? It's like if I was on my way to work, okay, let's just take a simple example, okay? Let's say I was on my way to work and I had to call customer service for, I don't know, something, the plumbing thing in my house that a plumber came and messed up, so I was stressed about it. I had to call customer service and the guy was nasty and wasn't helping me, okay? So I got really tense and, into like a heated conversation a little bit and I was stressed. But I'm running late, so I run into my office to see my first client, right? And let's say my first client is a little bit of a challenging client. I'm in a stressed state, right? But let's say I managed to get through the session okay. But I'm stressed, and my client is pushing some of my buttons. right? So now I'm now finishing that session. Now I have a second hit of activation of my body. I'm tense, I'm tight, right? And now, you know, one thing to the next, the whole day, and then I get home and on the way home I'm trying to call back the company I was calling in the morning because I couldn't talk to them the whole day because I was back to back with clients. And now this is a very normal day, by the way, right? Like this is nothing extraordinary. This is like life. This is just a regular Tuesday, yeah? So, and now I'm calling that company, but my wife is also calling me like, where are you already, right? Like these kids are going crazy. And so now I'm feeling like annoyed that I'm late and that my wife's annoyed at me and don't you know how hard I'm working and it's so annoying and then I'm stressed about my kid because this one's struggling with this and I'm still on a fight with the plumbing company and now I walk in the house. Do you know what kind of state I'm in? Of course I'm gonna snap at my kid. Of course. Right? And of course I'm gonna snap at my wife. And of course I'm not gonna have a good davening when I try to go to Mariv or whatever it is because I'm so wound up. Right? And we don't usually do anything with all that being wound up. But the reality actually is that our system has a built-in processing in which we're able to unwind. And it's not even that complicated. We just need to slow down and pay attention to the sensations of all that activation and tension, and they start to just fade. I'm not saying this is 100% true 100% of the time. There are a lot more complexities that can come up. But most of the time, we just need to stop and slow down and pay attention to it, and the body will bring it down a notch. Even like a headache like you described, right? Maybe the headache's not away, but it comes down a notch, right? We feel the blood flow more, right? It's things just, as opposed to if I don't do anything like this, so that whole day goes by, I don't feel good about any of it. I go to sleep feeling awful. I wake up the next morning and repeat.
When would you have done that in your example?
Very good. So there's a number of things. First of all, if I do this and here's the most important part, if I do this in an ongoing way, it doesn't take that much time. And if I have a practice, let's say on a weekly basis or a daily basis, of doing something like we just did, which even that only takes 5-10 minutes. But if I do that at a calm time, right? I carve out a space for that. Then, to be able to tap into that only takes a minute because it's already there in my system. It's like I'm just trying to connect to something that already exists in my system. So if I have that practice, then I have that difficult call with the company on my way to work before I rush into the client. Yes, I might be a minute late, but stop and sit in my car before I go into the office and just notice. And it's only going to take a minute because at that point it hasn't built up all that much yet. That's the key part. When we don't do this in those small little moments, then we do it after 8 years of how much is caked on top of it, how many layers of this stuff are already there. So yeah, we need it's like going to the dentist, right? If you brush your teeth every night, right? So it's like, but if you don't, it's just, now it's like the cleaning that's required is, insane, right? But it would only take a minute before I go into my office. And it would only take a minute after a session, or even in the middle of a session. Even in the middle of a session, I'm doing my client a favor if I space out for a second and take a breath. Because then I'm there. As opposed to if I have to be there, right? So when this is part of your life, it actually is not that time consuming. And it's much more, it comes with ease, right? Yeah.
I don't understand what you mean by do it for a second. Like just sit there with your eyes open or do this whole meditation?
I would literally just sit in the car, take a breath, and notice where do I feel the stress of that phone call in my body. Notice the sensation and just pay attention to it for a minute. 90% of the time, it will go away. Or it'll reduce significantly. That's it. Now, again, it's not all that simple, but a significant, much more than you would think. If you just do that for a minute, you will significantly reduce the level of activation and stress that is living in your system. Yeah?
Do you do it before, the beginning of your day, or do you do it after that phone call? Do you prepare yourself?
So what I'm suggesting is that a person has a set time on a consistent routine, whether it's daily or weekly, that they do something that's a drop longer, some version of this, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, it doesn't have to be long, but 5 minutes or 10 minutes. But then, when you have that, the goal is to do it throughout your day whenever you need. And it just takes a second. I'll give you an example. If you trip, you're walking down the stairs, you trip or something like that, the second you trip, even if nothing happens to you, you catch yourself and you're perfectly fine, your system releases a stress response to the fact that it thought it was about to fall down a flight of stairs. Now, what do most people do when they trip and they almost fall down a flight of stairs? They pretend it didn't happen and they keep on going because they feel embarrassed if anyone saw them, right? So you just keep going, right? Which means now that the activation that was released in your body is just stuck there because nothing ever happened with it. And your body never recalibrated to realizing that you're okay because you just kept on going, right? Something as small as that, right? The other day, I was walking down the sidewalk and one of the tiles or whatever was elevated, so I hit it as I was walking, I tripped, and I caught myself, but I almost fell. And I did what most people do. I just kept on walking, like hoping no one saw, right? But then I remembered what I preach, and I was like, okay, let me try and be honest for a second. And I stopped, and I stood there on the sidewalk, and then I instantly noticed, without doing anything, that the moment I stopped, all of a sudden, involuntarily, my body went like this. And then I was like, oh, okay, that was great, now I'm okay. And I kept on going. That's it, that's the difference. Yeah.
I think that was probably the biggest thing that you made me very aware of, is like that I never was aware of before, which was the breath of air that you take at different moments when you're going through things. It was just like, I became so conscious of the deep breath.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like, did you just feel that? Did you think, and like what you're talking about the sidewalk?
Yeah.
Since that whole experience, it looks a little ridiculous, but instead of looking around, I look at what I tripped on, and
Yeah.
I look at it, and I'm like, you did that to me. I talked to him, I'm like, that's what happened. Like, I almost like acknowledge the fact of like, you know, like, that's just what happened, as opposed to like moving on and pretending.
Yeah,
Like,
totally. The other day in the airport, I saw this elderly man trip, and he actually completely fell, and he was totally okay, but he got right up and kept on walking. And I didn't, because I don't be such a freak, but I wanted to go over to him and be like, sir, please do me a favor, do yourself a favor. Just take 1 second before you keep going. Just wait till you notice the breath coming. And I didn't, but I really wanted to. But and again, this is part of our ancient Masorah that we've just lost. It's a pasuk in Chumash. I want to stop because I want to let Rabbi start. But there's a pasuk in Chumash in Shmos that says, "V'lo shamu el Moshe mikotzer ruach me'avoda kasha." The Klal Yisrael couldn't hear Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu symbolizes Geula, meaning he symbolizes the possibility of hope and the possibility of possibility, the capacity for positivity. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu symbolizes. And when the Yidden were in Mitzrayim is Meitzarim, is constriction, they couldn't hear Moshe Rabbeinu. They couldn't hear that there's Moshe, that there's hope, that things can be okay. Why? Because of Kotzer Ruach, shortness of breath. Ume'avoda kasha, and from difficult work. Now, I would have thought the pasuk should have said, so first of all, that's amazing in itself. The Torah explicitly is referring to the shortness of breath. But I wanted to add something onto this. I would have thought the Torah should have said, V'lo shamu Moshe me'avoda kasha mikotzer ruach. Because why are we short of breath? From the hard work. The Torah is telling us that's not why you're short of breath. Because people can have hard work, but they can still breathe, and then it's different. It's a different work. The reason the work is hard is because of the shortness of breath. We think the reason I'm so stressed is that I have so many stressful things in my life. No. The avodah kasha is not why you're kotzer ruach. The kotzer ruach is because you're kotzer ruach. And then you have avodah kasha. It's the slowing down. It's the taking the moment to notice, to breathe. It's simple. It's really, really simple. Even we did a whole fancy visualization to make it spiritual, and I think that's cool, and I'm happy we did that. But the basic piece of this whole thing that we just did together was just the noticing your body and breathing. That's the whole magic. Incredibly simple.